Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. In this video, what is Gushu PuErh tea? In this video, I'm going to give you the lowdown on one of the world's most sought after teas. This video is going to go under the Tea Trips and Tea Masterclasses playlists. If at any point in time you enjoy this video, then make sure you hit it with the thumbs up. The more thumbs in the air, the more tea videos are going to come your way. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then go click that button. Gushu PuErh tea basically means PuErh tea made from ancient tea trees, over about 200 years old. It is some of the most valued, prized and collected tea in the world. The reason for that is the older the tea trees, the richer the fragrance, the taste, and for many people, the stronger the tea drunk effect. There are different theories as to why this is the case. Obviously, the older the tea tree, the slower it grows. That gives more time for those leaves to get filled with the nutrients that are picked up from the soil. Older tea trees also have longer, deeper roots, which mean that they have access to layers of nutrient-rich soil that younger tea trees just can't reach. Whatever the reasons, Gushu PuErh tea is highly prized and much sought after. However, there is a lot of controversy around Gushu. Just take a look online and you'll find lots of forums talking about the authenticity, whether or not it is real Gushu, fake Gushu, and how we go about estimating the age of the tea trees. And I thought, since I am here in Yunnan, in Laoban, where there are quite a few Gushu tea forests, I would take you with us and I would try to give you as much knowledge as I have about Gushu PuErh tea. As always, we welcome any comments, but especially with this video, I know there's a lot of controversy around it. So please, if you have any constructive thoughts or comments, then put them in the comments section below. Right, let's go find some Gushu tea. Everywhere around this area, dotted along the roads, on the slopes, are these kinds of plantations. This is xiaoshu, small tea tree. This tea tree probably is around 20 years old, 30 years old. Around us we've got 10s, 20s, 30s, in that kind of range. This is the plantation tea. This is small tree material, and as you can probably hear, it's usually very close to roads. So this is the lowest quality tea pickings that you can get in Yunnan. This is in Bulang, this is Hekai area. So, you know, if you see Hekai Bulang tea, you need to really know from what kind of plantations it comes from. If it's coming from plantations with these small bushes right next to roads, then obviously it's not going to be the best quality tea. So this is an example of xiaoshu. You can see they're established tea trees. It's, you know, they're looking relatively healthy, but they've got quite a lot of dust on them. They're picking up the dirt from the road. Certainly we wouldn't be purchasing any tea from these kinds of plantations. As always, don't just look at the area, but try and find out what kind of forests or plantations are being used. And the best way to do that is work on the age, because if it's a xiaoshu, if it's kind of under 50 years old, then it's more likely that it's going to be growing, you know, on these slightly lower altitude plantations that are closer to roads. We're further up the mountain and now we're starting to get to slightly larger trees. These would be generally classed as zhongshu, which is like middle tree. So xiaoshu is small tree, zhongshu is middle tree. These kind of 70, 80-year-old tea trees, something like that. Potentially, these are about maybe 50, 60 years old, 70 years old. So this is an example of zhongshu, much higher quality tea. And down here you can see it's mixed up. This is Hekai still, mixed up with these ones here. This I would start to class as dashu. Dashu being big tree. And this is probably, well, it's definitely over 100. It could potentially be close to Gushu range, close to kind of 150 years old, something like that. But it certainly isn't definitely Gushu. I would class this as Dashu. So you've got Xiaoshu, small tree, Zhongshu, middle tree, Dashu means big tree, and then Gushu means ancient tree. Now we are playing with the big boys. This is top end Gushu tea tree. This tea tree must be close to 1,000 years old. Let's say conservatively 800, but it's probably bigger than that. Massive branches. I'll move out the way so Celine, you can get a shot of this huge tea trunk. You can see this tea tree trunk is big circumference, really massive branches. The many branches coming off, they're all really thick, and this is very slow growing Gushu. 800 conservatively, probably more like 1,000-year-old. Beautiful. Look at this one again, you know, 800 or so, edging towards the 1,000 probably. Really tall, really thick. I mean, these are ancient tea trees. I'm a very happy puppy right now. If only we could harvest a few of these leaves. So let's talk about the important question of how we age these tea trees. You may have noticed that every time I'm talking about age, I'm talking about approximations or estimates. And that's because there is no real way to get an accurate measurement of the age of the tea trees, apart from doing a core sample where you drill in and you actually count the rings. Well, obviously they're not going to be doing that for these precious, valued plants. So that is out of the question. Instead, there are two methods which are commonly used. I spoke to the official government researcher in Gushu. I really wanted to interview him, but unfortunately he's in Beijing at the moment. But he said to me that really they use two methods to estimate the age of the tea tree. The first method is speaking to the local tribes and looking at the history of the land. That's the first thing that they do. Now, of course, when you speak to farmers, there's always the tendency for hyping up the age of the tea tree because it commands a higher price. However, if you speak to the village elders and you speak to people who are properly from the minority tribes, in this case, in this area, it's the Bulang people or Aini people, and you speak to them and you look at the history of the land, you can get some kind of idea about when these forests were established through historical data and their personal stories. The second way of assessing age is looking at the size of the tree, specifically the circumference of the tea tree trunk and the size of the branches. However, this again is not completely accurate because different trees will grow at different rates. And also I was told by this official researcher that at some point the circumference of the trees really stop growing or grow very slowly. And so you get this burst at younger age and then it slows down. So, you know, it's not a simple equation of looking at size and then mapping it on a graph against age. Instead, what they do is look at all this historical data, and then just by looking at the tea trees, looking at the sizes, they make some approximations. And sometimes if they're quite sure about it, they will certificate the tree and they'll put a plaque next to the tree saying, we believe that this tree is at this age. But that's how you do it. There is no way of getting an accurate age. It has to be done through these gathering of information and making your best guess. I've just been speaking to this lady here. She's a member of the Dai tribe in this area, Hekai area. She's never left this place. She's never left these mountains, and tea has been part of her life since she was a baby. You can see she's busy picking Gushu material. I don't want to disturb her too much, but I thought I would give you a little bit of an overview of how this works in terms of land ownership. So this land is state-owned, it's owned by the government, but the government allows these tribes and these villagers to use the land. They're not allowed to sell the land, but they're allowed to use the land to do picking and processing of tea leaves. The village owns the land, and then the village splits the land up according to families. So each family gets a plot of the land that they can use. Another interesting point is that the state rules that you cannot spray these plants, you cannot put weed killers down, you can't use pesticides. If you do, then the village has the right to take away the land from the family. So tight controls exist here. Now we know that when you're talking about big plantations, small tree plantations that are owned by businesses or rented by businesses, then other practices may happen. But for these kinds of tea forests, with these kinds of people, there are very tight controls in the use of chemicals, and if they're found out, the land can be taken away from them. But honestly, from speaking to these people would never even dream of using chemicals, because this is part of their heritage and is going to be passed down to future generations. I'm with another picker here, picking a beautiful tree here. No, come in. He's a bit camera shy. But I just wanted to say how much work goes into the picking phase. So they work the whole day picking, and on average, they'll pick something in the region of about 15 kilos per person for a full day's picking. 15 kilos of fresh leaf translate to roughly around 3.5 to 4 kilos of finished sheng pu'erh. This man is lovingly rolling and then piling up this Gushu PuErh. This is a single batch of PuErh because this is from 1,000-year-old tea trees. There are only 4 of them in Weidong area in Gulang. So this is 1,000-year-old tea tree Gushu material. They make maybe 1 or 2 kilos of this per year. It's already been sold to the Chinese, so the money's in the bank, it's already been sold, and you can see how much love and care he's taking with this tea. And take a look at these lovely leaves. We're at the entrance to Nanwah Shun, which is another very famous mountain in this Bulang area. I've just been told that there was a very ancient Gushu tea tree here, 1,800-year-old approximately was the estimation. So prized that they wanted to ring fence it and protect it, but when they did, they laid down concrete around it, and that poisoned the earth, and the tree is now dead. Very, very sad, but you know, this is the way it goes. You know, you've got to make sure that you protect these tea trees, but keep them as natural as possible and don't make them just simple tourist attractions. One of the difficulties with aging Gushu is that in order for it to be a Gushu tree, it needs to be 200 years or older. And that means 3 or 4 generations. And so the information about the age of a tea tree gets lost from generation to generation. I was speaking to a 70-year-old farmer in Yiwu, and he was saying that the Gushu trees look exactly the same size as they were when he was a little boy. So they grow super slowly, and the information doesn't necessarily get passed on, and so we never know exactly how old they are. I have a little bit of treasure in my hand. The farmer on this tea field in Nannuo has just handed me this. This is pangxi. This grows on tea trees, on really good quality tea trees, and this is parasite that grows on the tea trees, but it's really, really great for your health. It's used in Chinese herbs a lot. So this is pangxi. Take a little close look of this. and you can dry it, you can use it as a tisane. I'm going to eat a little bit now. Bitter, but all medicine is. Oh, this is really different. It's like burnt sugar, more toffee. If only this camera had smell-o-vision. Wow, Nannuo Gushu. Nannuo Mountains, driving up here, one of the things that you really notice is how wild this area is in terms of variety of nature. There's such a variety that you can hardly see the tea trees. They're kind of hidden amongst all these bigger trees. It's an incredible thing. You go to somewhere like Laoban Jiang and it feels a little bit more stripped down, like they've been cultivating it a little bit more. Nannuo, honestly, we'll try and get some shots, but it is wild, wild, wild here. There's bamboos, there's all sorts of trees, and then nestled within it, kind of under shade, are all the tea trees. But this Gushu smells incredible. Looks nice and thick. One of the best Gushus tasted this year. Supreme balance between dark and light notes. Sometimes with Gushu, what you notice is the focus is a little bit too much on the creaminess and the heavier, sweeter notes, but it loses a little bit of the top notes. This one, flooding my mouth with flavor. And nothing I can immediately put my finger on, which is always a good sign. Humid forests. The humidity of a tropical forest, pine wood, some woods, a little bit of mushrooms, toffee, all sorts. You can definitely pick up this variety in the landscape. I'm not sure if that's just my imagination, because driving through it, sitting in amongst it now as we are, but there's something about the variety of flavors in here which perfectly relates to the environment that we're in. Today, we are heading up to Laoban Jiang, by far the world's most revered and renowned tea forest, producing what is known as the king of PuErh teas. We have established relationships with tea farmers in Laoban Jiang, but it's always a privilege to visit these Gushu forests, and now you get to experience it too. Let's go.
Laoban Jiang, here we come.
On our way up to Laoban Jiang, I just wanted to show you this road. And this is the same whenever you go to these Gushu tea forests. They don't have proper roads. It's always stone like this. And when I ask why, it's purely because they don't want tarmac, because the tarmac, the chemicals in the tarmac will eventually seep into the soil and may affect the soil in this area. So they're very, very careful to make sure that all the roads that go up to these Gushu forests are done like this. We just passed the Laoban Jiang checkpoint. Anybody coming in, they want to check that no tea is being brought in, because if you bring tea into Laoban Jiang, then it could potentially be faked and sold as Laoban Jiang. It's worth noting that Laoban Jiang is one of the most faked areas in the world. You know, if there are 5 tons that are made throughout the year, suddenly there are 20 tons available on the market. So despite their checks, there's lots of faking going on. But obviously we didn't have suspicious faces, so he didn't bother checking us. What do you think's in my bag? Welcome to Laoban Jiang. Behind me are two of the most famous tea trees in the world, and certainly the two most famous PuErh trees. This is the king of Laoban Jiang here, and this one over here is the queen of Laoban Jiang. Both of them are well over 1,000 years old, and every year the tea is sold off at auction before picking. And this year, this tea tree, the entire batch, has sold for 680,000 RMB. And last year, this tree made 700 grams of finished tea. That equates to about 1,000 RMB per gram, which is about 150 US dollars per single gram of tea. This one, the Queen, sold for about 500,000 RMB. Crazy prices. Now, is Laoban Jiang worth the price? Anything that comes from this village area commands a massive increase in price simply because of the name. Don't get me wrong, it is amazing tea and I understand where the reputation comes from, but I personally find it very hard to justify buying from Laoban Jiang because of that extra snob value. But there are always going to be people in the world that are prepared to pay that price for the top quality Gushu. On the subject of pesticides, I know a lot of you are interested in this. You can see here they use this sticky paper to catch insects. The use of pesticides is strictly prohibited by the Chinese government in these kinds of forests. And as I said previously, any use of pesticides will result potentially in the village taking away the land from that family member, which is very, very serious stuff. We're really privileged to be allowed access to Laoban Jiang forests. The tribes that are part of Laoban Jiang is the Aini tribe. And this lady here, a good friend of ours, is Aini, and she's the sister of the chief of the Laoban Jiang village. So we're very, very lucky. It gives us a lot of access to these forests. She was telling me that when she was younger, they had hardly any money and they had to split the family up, her and her three other siblings, to survive. But now times have changed. Laoban Jiang has become the most famous PuErh village and commands a very high price. And you can see that everywhere. They're building houses, everything's being renovated in this area. Some of it's a little bit sad because they're making roads in and therefore they're taking away some of the trees. But in general, money is moving into this area. And at the entrance of Laoban Jiang, you can see a big sign showing the different Aini family tribe members, all of the ones that have ownership or can use the Laoban Jiang land. Beautiful Aini costume here, stunningly beautiful. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet the chief of the village. He's in Jinghong at the moment, but I'm very privileged to be a friend of the sister and for us to be able to have access to these amazing Gushu trees. 谢谢, 谢谢. Naughty, naughty, naughty. It's prohibited to pick Laoban Jiang tea. It wasn't me who did it, but I just see bottles of water with some very fresh leaves floating around in there. We've just left Laoban Jiang Mountain and we're going to visit a tea farmer that we purchased tea from to taste some Gushu, because at the end of it all of this discussion about what is real Gushu, what is young tree, middle tree, all of that means nothing if you can't taste and experience the difference when you are drinking the tea. Let's go taste some Gushu. So we are going to taste some Laoban Jiang Gushu 2017 pricey stuff. We're going to taste this, see if we can pick up that Laoban Jiang energy. It's so deep. The honey, nougat, almonds, but really deep, sugary, 很甜香. Me. Really, really honey, sweet, sweet, sweet smell. Very, very nice. Check out the leaves. Super fruit. Very different to the empty Gongda Bay. Much fresher. Gooseberries. Mineral rockiness. You can tell that this has got a lot of minerals in it. but a very tangy fruit. I'm going to go with gooseberries and a little bit of limes or lemons, citrus as well. Very different from the empty Gong Dao Bei. Very exciting. First infusion, medium, medium to thick. Very velvety, rocky minerality coming through immediately. Real cliff, rocky taste to it. Smooth, fleeting bitterness. I'm not picking up so much of the fruit, but definitely a lot of sweetness. Second infusion, much thicker, sweeter. Sweetness is definitely coming through. So now that tang of fruit is combining with this sweetness. Still got that minerality. Now I'm getting a real, immediately, tongue sensation, but strangely on the tip of my tongue, this tingling to juicy sensation. Now I sometimes get this with, a lot of the times I get this with gushus, especially on the sides of the tongue, but here it's right in the middle to the front, all the way to the underside. A lot of tingling going on, definitely very powerful. Flavor coming through the nose, honey and citrus. I guess the closest we could put would be kind of a sweet grapefruit, or pomelo would be a good example, a kind of that sweet pomelo grapefruit sweetness. Okay, we're going to go through some infusions now. I want to see how this Laoban Jiang makes me feel. Okay, we had about 8 infusions of the Laoban Jiang, and I had to step outside. Really, honestly, all that they talk about with Laoban Jiangs for this tea is really true. After about the 4th infusion, I started to feel like this real kind of turning sensation in my stomach. Excuse me, but I felt like I needed to burp, which is always the beginning of like a real kind of intense tea experience. Tingly sensation down my legs, in my fingers, a real excitable, slightly dizzy sensation, that real high, definitely rising energy sensation. Wow, this Laoban Jiang is strong, and the flavor of it is smooth and sweet and gentle, and it doesn't have any kind of harshness at all. But don't be fooled. Drink too much of this, and for some people like me, they'll react quite strongly. I was talking with the farmer and he was saying some people react very strongly, some people don't drink it because they're too kind of freaked out by it. Some people find that it kind of gives them this tingling massage and they can lie down and relax. But for me, this is definitely a very excitable, very kind of high tea. Right, now what we're gonna do is we wanna do a taste test between small tea trees and Gushu tea trees. In order to do that, I'm going to grab a couple of samples and we're going to head back to London and do a full tasting. Hey everyone, we're of course back in London, and it's actually Saturday and I'm meant to be releasing this video today. So I've been up the whole night editing, looking at my silly face. Apologies for my appearance, but we're already 27 minutes and 53 seconds into this video. So we're not going to be able to do that comparative tasting today, but we will be doing it in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. I hope that this video has given you a better understanding, insight, and appreciation into one of the world's most spectacular types of tea. That's it, tea heads. If you made it to the end of this video, then make sure you hit it with a like and follow us on all our social so that you don't miss out on future news and videos from Mayleaf HQ. If you're ever in London, then come visit us in Camden to say hi and taste our wares. If you have any questions, comments, or video ideas, then please fire them over. Other than that, I'm a very tired and slightly Gushu tea drunk Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.